Let's turn now to Republican Congressman Scott Garrett from New Jersey, who is a member of the Budget and Financial Services Committees.
Yeah.
Sir, thanks so much for joining us.
Sure.
I understand you've been on the fence about the Boehner plan. Today, the CBO said the plan had only $850 billion in savings. And now Speaker Boehner's office says they're rewriting the bill. So did that influence your vote, first of all?
Well, I appreciate the fact that the Speaker has said all along, and I think the Republican position is all along, that whatever debt limit increase that we talk about, and of course, as you know, the House Republicans and House Democrats have already passed a bill out of the House that does raise the debt limit. But whichever one we do has to, really cut more money than we raise the debt limit by. And I think in their initial numbers, this bill would have done that by a marginal amount. But we don't do anything here in Washington without CBO scoring it. And as you say, the CBO score came in at 850, so it's under the over $1 trillion as far as cuts that they needed. Now, I should add to say, at least we have a bill here. Unfortunately, as you know, the White House has yet to give us anything in writing that we can try to compare this against to see whether this is good, better, or worse than what the White House is presenting us with. So we have nothing from the White House. Here, at least, we have something on paper.
Let me stay on
Sure.
The Speaker's plan. Sure. How much pressure are you getting right now to support the Speaker's plan?
So the Speaker and leadership is saying this is the avenue that they would like to send over to the Senate, even though the President has already said that he would veto the bill, essentially, and Harry Reid said he's not enamored with it. At least this would be one more thing in the Senate for the senators to consider. They haven't done anything, unfortunately, over there. What I'm doing with our leadership right now is saying, look, we have already sent a bill over there that would cut spending, cap spending, and move towards a balanced budget. We can take a look at where this leader is, or the Speaker is right now. We probably want to try to plus up some of the cuts. You know, right now the President wants to cut zero in 2012. Speaker wants to cut around $7 billion in 2012, and a number of us think that we can up that number. Likewise with the caps, and likewise with the balanced budget amendment. All areas that need to be addressed, we think.
You know, the White House Communications Director was just on the show a little while ago, and he described the Speaker's bill as, quote, irrelevant. And the White House basically issued a veto threat to the plan. So should the House be working on a bill that will never become law?
Well, I know one of the earlier guests has said was whether that at this point in time the White House is really on the sidelines. In one sense, the White House has been on the sidelines all along in this debate. The President never truly engaged whatsoever, never came forth with a proposal that would create jobs, would get the economy moving, never was specific as we have here in the House. We have passed in the House a bipartisan bill that's already sitting in the Senate. Now we have a second proposal that's literally in form and written down. We may have to, the leader may want to tweak it, what have you. But the White House has really been on the sidelines. The White House, I hate to say this, has been irrelevant in this entire discussion. And unfortunately, they will honestly be irrelevant going forward until they come to the table, sit down with us and say, here in writing is what we want to do. Here is how we get the economy moving again. Here is how we get jobs created again. Here's how we can try to cut spending in 07.
What's it going to take for you to decide whether you're going to vote yes on this?
Yeah, well, first and foremost is to see what the next version of this bill is, and that won't be for a period of time. And secondly, to see whether, on the point I was just making, whether the President now comes forward and say, okay, I want to get engaged, here's our plan. I'm still waiting for that. And thirdly, to see whether the Senate actually does something. They have one bill sitting over there. They didn't say no to it, mind you, which was the cut, cap, and balance bill. They just said, let's postpone it. So I would really encourage, Senator Reid to say, while we wait for the House to move something else, let's have that come up for a debate. Let's have a discussion on that, and let's move that for a vote. Yes or no would not be a bad thing for the Senate to be doing something while the House continues to act.
You know, the rest of the country is staring at Washington confused. Yeah. One of the most popular topics on Twitter today was blank you Washington. Phone lines on the Hill are jammed. 68% of Americans and 53% of Republicans in a new poll now say they want Congress to compromise and get things done on the debt ceiling. Why is compromise so hard to achieve on this issue?
Well, one reason, as I said, it's hard to compromise with someone sitting across the table from you. If I say, I stand here and I lay it all out, and the person on the other side doesn't lay out where they are, then it's hard to reach that middle ground. And I know the President said during his speech he didn't want to get into the details during his last speech last night. Well, that's the problem. You can't compromise unless he's willing to tell us specifically where does he want to have cuts, where does he want to see increases, where does he want to, the revenue goes from. We haven't seen that. So it is frustrating for me, just as it is for the American public.
Okay, we have to just point out, I mean, obviously he was involved in discussions for a number of weeks, and then, and that didn't broker a deal in the end either. So
but he came to those discussions with nothing in hand. He came to those discussions with just a broad outline to saying we want to move in this direction or that direction. That is not taking part in a critical way. That's not taking part in a fruitful way to a discussion.
How concerned are you? Some of the ratings agencies are going to testify before Congress tomorrow. No doubt they'll be asked about the chance of a downgrade. How concerned are you about the U.S. credit rating?
Oh, I'm absolutely concerned about that, because that's one of the big issues in any plan that we actually get through Congress. So it's not enough. If you look at the rating agencies, what they've already said, they've told us it's not enough simply to raise the debt limit over the next several days to get that behind us. They said we need to make structural changes, significant structural changes in spending, so that we're not in this situation down the road where our debt to income ratio, our principal payments to revenue ratios, they have to change substantially, they said. Otherwise, we will find ourselves with a downgrade. So the president's general broad plan of just saying raise the debt ceiling won't work. Senator Reid's general plan that he has in a bill form that says let's raise it only this much and cut only this much, generally speaking, won't do it because it doesn't make structural changes. So I'm very concerned about it.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll look forward to see which way you decide to go on Speaker Boehner's plan.
Thank you so much.